Understanding your rights and responsibilities. Addressing discriminatory harassment at the University of South Carolina. Welcome to Will We Be Next, a training program of the University of South Carolina. All across America, students at colleges and universities have experienced incidents of discrimination, which have recently been showcased in the media. Here at the University of South Carolina, it is our goal to ensure that all members of our community are treated with fairness, equality, and mutual respect. It is for this reason we are offering this very important learning opportunity. By the end of this video, you will know what is Title VI, who is covered by Title VI, what university policy says about unlawful discrimination and harassment, what constitutes a violation of Title VI and university policy, how to report violations on the University of South Carolina's campus. Thank you for taking the time to participate, and remember, as Gamecocks, our community has no limits. If an incident of discrimination occurs at the University of South Carolina, would you know how to respond? Would you know how to report the incident, or would you feel comfortable supporting other members of our community if they felt violated or discriminated against? Are you familiar with federal and state law and university policies that protect students, faculty, and staff from acts of unlawful discrimination? One of the federal laws that protects individuals from acts of unlawful discrimination is Title VI. What is Title VI? According to Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, no person in the United States shall be excluded from participation, denied benefits, or subjected to discrimination in any federally funded program or activity on the basis of race, color, or national origin. This means that institutions, like the University of South Carolina, that receive federal funding must operate in a non-discriminatory manner, ensuring that persons are not treated differently or denied the benefits of services that include, but are not limited to, admissions, recruitment, financial aid, academic programs, student treatment and services, counseling and guidance, discipline, classroom assignment, grading, co-curricular activities, recreation, physical education, athletics, and housing and employment. If any of these services are withheld from the members of our community based upon race, color, or national origin, or if they are treated differently based upon race, color, or national origin, a violation of Title VI may have occurred. What is the origin of Title VI? President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Acts of 1964. At the time, many considered it the most important piece of legislation since the Emancipation Proclamation. As stated earlier, Title VI covers race, color, and national origin discrimination. Other types of discrimination, like sex, age, and religion, are covered by different federal statutes or other parts of the Civil Rights Acts of 1964. Title VI protects individuals, groups, and in some cases, communities from unlawful discrimination.
What about the policies of University of South Carolina? Discriminatory harassment is also a violation of university policy. The university has several policies that prohibit unlawful discrimination and harassment based upon race, color, or national origin, among other protected categories. Those policies are Equal Opportunity Programs EOP Policy 1.03, which is the university's discriminatory harassment policy. Equal Opportunity Programs EOP Policy 1.04, which is the university's non-discrimination policy. And Student Affairs Staff Policy 6.24, which is the Student Non-Discrimination and Non-Harassment Policy. In a nutshell, discrimination against or harassment of anyone because of that person's race, color, or national origin is prohibited by university policy. So what is discrimination? Discrimination is the unfair or equal treatment of an individual or group based upon any protected class status, such as race, color, or national origin. It interferes with or limits the ability of an individual or group to participate in or benefit from the services, activities, or privileges provided by the university. What about harassment? Harassment is a specific type of unlawful discrimination. It includes conduct, oral, written, graphic, or physical, which is directed against any individual or group because of or based upon characteristics such as race, color, national origin, religion, sex, gender, age, disability, sexual orientation, genetics, and veteran status. In order for an act or behavior to be considered harassment, it has to be sufficiently severe, pervasive, or persistent that it interferes with or limits the ability of an individual or group to participate in or benefit from the programs, services, and activities provided by the university. As you may have noticed, media-reported incidents, harassment may include, but is not limited to, objectionable epithets, demeaning depictions or treatment, and threatened or actual abuse or harm. It does not, however, include the use of materials by students or discussions involving students for learning purposes appropriate to the academic context. Sadly, we still live in a world where people engage in behavior that violates the rights of others or disrespects their cultural, religious, or racial backgrounds. We believe the university is a safe place to work and study. However, we are also aware that members of our institution mirror the larger society and that some members will engage in acts and behaviors prohibited by Title VI. It is for this reason we are presenting this learning opportunity.
Let's take a look at examples of Title VI discrimination. Consider this. An academic honors program at a college or university is comprised exclusively of white students. A black female applies and is denied admission. When the student complains, it is determined that her grades and test scores were among the top 3% of all the candidates who applied to the honors program. However, her application was placed in the lower 50% of those who applied. An investigation determines other black students who met the requirements were also denied admission. No additional explanation or justification is given to support the rejection. Is this a violation of Title VI? If she was rejected because of her race or color, the answer is yes. Consider this next example. A USC student from a Middle Eastern country applies for membership in a fraternity whose membership up until now has been predominantly white. The rejected student asks for an explanation and is told by the chapter president, "It's nothing personal, but your accent makes it hard to understand you, and the other members of the fraternity chapter might not feel comfortable around you." The chapter president goes on to state, "There's been talk and some of the members believe you're from one of those countries responsible for the terrorist attacks in America and Europe. Sorry dude, no hard feelings, right?" This is a classic example of national origin discrimination. The chapter president saying it wasn't personal doesn't excuse the discrimination. The applicant's country of origin, which accounts for his accent and some of the cause of some members' belief that he's from a country that supports terrorism, is the only reason given for denying his membership. Or consider this case. A student who was born in the United States but whose parents immigrated illegally from San Salvador applies for membership in a choral group. The group is a registered student organization at a community college in a rural Midwestern community. The group performs at local events, sponsored and attended primarily by middle-aged members of their local rural community. When the applicant submitted a taped-recorded sample of her vocal skills, she received a call from the group's business manager praising her vocal talents, and even stated she would be a wonderful addition to the group. However, when the applicant appeared for an interview, she was told the group doesn't need any more altos after all, and that her application for membership would have to be denied. Later, the applicant learns the business manager's concern that having a member of the choral group who didn't look like a normal American might not go over too well with the community the choral group relied on for much of its performances, which provides income for the group. The student's features, her dark complexion, is based upon the fact that her parents are of Native Central American heritage. What do you think? Is this a violation of Title VI? If she was denied membership because of her race, that would be a violation. It certainly sounded like she was denied membership because of the color of her skin. That would be a violation too. And even though she was born in the United States, her parents are from San Salvador. Could there be a violation of Title VI based upon national origin? Maybe. Remember, she was denied membership because she doesn't look like a normal American. Here's one more example. A student resides in a college residence hall. The student wears dreadlocks. His roommate is from an Asian country. When the student with the dreadlocks returns to his room one evening, he's greeted by a note on the door that reads, "No nasty dreads allowed." The student removes the note and takes it to the resident mentor to complain about the note. The resident mentor tells him he'll look into it. 1 week later, an identical note appears on the student's door, and he again takes the note to the resident mentor. Later, the student with the dreadlocks learns that the resident mentor found out who posted the note the day after receiving the first complaint, but the resident mentor has done nothing about it. By the way, the student with the dreadlocks is white, the resident mentor is also white, and the student who posted the signs is black. Would the facts described above be a violation of Title VI? Would they be a violation of University of South Carolina policy? It certainly appears that a hostile environment has been created for the student with the dreads. If the student is being singled out because of his race, that would be a violation of Title VI and university policy prohibiting discrimination based on race. What do you think? Would your answer be different if the student with the dreads was black and the student posting the note was white? Do the actions of the resident mentor violate Title VI or the university policy? Regardless of the race of the person being subjected to the harassment, and regardless of the race of the person or persons committing the harassment, if the student is being singled out because of his race, that would be a violation of Title VI and university policy prohibiting discrimination and harassment based on race. Title VI also protects members of our community from being retaliated against. In the previous examples, if any member of the university community retaliated against a student who filed a complaint, or against anyone else who participated in a complaint process, it may constitute a violation of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The cycle of oppression. Have you ever wondered what is the origin or the source of such discrimination, prejudice, or harassment? Consider the cycle of oppression. Discrimination and oppression often begin with a stereotype. A stereotype is an oversimplified judgment or belief that is ascribed to an entire group. Not all stereotypes are negative. Stereotypes can, in fact, be positive beliefs about a certain race. All Asians are smart. All African Americans play basketball well. But regardless, if the stereotype is negative or positive, it can lead to sweeping assumptions about an entire race or group of people you don't know very much. When does a stereotype become prejudice? If you answered when you form a judgment or assumption about someone before knowing them or meeting them, you were correct. Stereotypes form the basis of prejudices. When does prejudice become discrimination? If you answered prejudice becomes discrimination when we act upon the prejudice, you are correct. Discrimination is prejudice plus action based upon that prejudice. What about oppression? When does discrimination become oppression? Discrimination becomes oppression when it is long-standing and systemic. Finally, oppression is often internalized by both groups. The victims of oppression can accept the stereotypes and engage in behavior that is representative of the stereotypes. The majority group can also internalize the oppression by accepting the belief that it, or its behavior, or ideologies are superior. As Gamecocks, our compassion and our tolerance have no limits. The University of South Carolina's motto is, "Learning humanizes character and does not permit it to be cruel." The value of higher education is that it exposes us to people from different cultural backgrounds. It allows us to have experiences and opportunities different from our earlier socialization process. It broadens our understanding of the world, ourselves, and others. Being a member of the Carolina community provides you with an awesome opportunity to become aware of your individual biases and to confront and work on them. The majority of students, faculty, and staff at the University of South Carolina realize the benefits of studying and working in a diverse community. However, a small minority of persons at every institution will engage in behavior prohibited by Title VI. Any member of the University of South Carolina community who engages in illegal discrimination or harassment is subject to disciplinary action. Students who violate Title VI or university policy prohibiting unlawful discrimination and harassment may be subject to probation, suspension, or expulsion. Any faculty or staff member who engages in such behavior may be subject to disciplinary action, such as probation, suspension, and even termination.
How to respond to acts of discrimination. The University of South Carolina has campus resources which can assist you if you or someone you know becomes the victim of illegal discrimination or harassment. The Office of Equal Opportunity Programs investigates allegations of unlawful discrimination and harassment. Its staff has been trained to investigate such discrimination and harassment and is equipped with resources and information to help educate members of our campus about fair and equitable treatment without regard to differences such as race, color, or national origin. As Gamecocks, our impact has no limits. As members of a university community, you can make a difference. If you or someone you know becomes the victim of discriminatory harassment based upon a protected class status discussed earlier, please contact the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs at 803-777-3854. You may also file an online complaint at www.sc.edu/EOP. On the EOP website, click the For Students link on the menu on the left side of the page. Clicking that link will take you to a page titled Filing a Complaint. You have several options for filing a complaint with the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs. You may complete an online complaint form. You may print and complete the Word or PDF form and mail, email, or fax it to the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs. You may visit the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs or call and schedule an appointment. The online complaint form and the Word and PDF forms are self-explanatory. Each form allows you to submit the information needed to begin the complaint process. While it is always better to resolve less serious complaints at the lowest level or within the department or college where it occurs, all complaints, regardless of the severity, should be reported to the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs. The University of South Carolina has zero tolerance for retaliation and protects from retaliation any member of our community who files a complaint, reports an allegation, or participates in an investigation. We hope this presentation has been helpful. Links to Title VI and relevant university policies appear at the end of this video. You will also be required to answer 10 questions based upon the information presented. If you have any questions about the information presented, you may contact the Office of Equal Opportunity Programs at 803-777-3854. Thanks, and remember, as Gamecocks, our spirit has no limits.